Once Revati is done, let's look at Rohini the next week. With that, we will be complete with all the nakshatra recordings, and then we will start planets, maybe followed by Rashis. So while we do the planets, maybe about half hour we will take up for the class, half hour to 40 minutes. And over that, for the next 1.5 hours of time, we can bring in examples. We can simultaneously look at a few examples with the charts we can discuss. You can bring in charts which are not of your own people or own charts so that you don't have sentiments around it. Because it will be an open forum. Either you can bring people whom you know and you're not sentimentally connected to them. Okay, let's look at Revati. So Revati is the wealthy star. So Revati is ruled by a god called as, the deity is called as Pooshan. Okay, so Pooshan is the one who shows path to others. So usually what happens is when the soul exits the body, right? When the death happens, when the soul exits the body, Pushan is the person who stands at the Vaitarani Nadi, and he takes care of that soul and transports the soul to the loka based on based on the karma. Okay, either it goes to the Yamaloka, Swargaloka, or there are many other lokas available based on what we have done. It is decided, and this man acts as the boatman. Okay, so this boatman helps crossing the rivers, and it's the shining one, the boatman. These are all the nicknames, and you have Pushan in this, Lakshmi and Vishnu in this. Let's look at the mantra. The mantra, by and large, is like this: Revat Pushno Revati Gavaha Parastat Vatsa Avastat. Pushno Revati Gavaha Parastat Vatsa Avastat. Okay. So, as we do every time, let's look at the deity. The deity is Pushan. Okay. Poshana. Pushan relates to Poshana. That means nourishment. Okay. A similar aspect will be seen in Pushyami. Okay. Pushyami Nakshatra also. The Pushya Nakshatra is also related to nourishment. So if you find malnourishment of kids, etc., right, you will find people who are malnourished or extremely fat or extremely thin. Both will be ruled by Pushyami and this nakshatra, Revati. The beauty is in Pushyami, Jupiter is exalting. In this nakshatra, Revati, Venus is exalted. Okay, so these two are the deities who take care of nourishment. So the nourisher Pushan is connected to Pushya also, and he's the boatman, and he's also called as the Pashupati Nath. Okay, in the Nepal we have Pashupati Nath. He's the animal keeper of the gods, and he's also the protector of the travelers and their belongings. So you take up a journey to any place, okay, you reach the destination safely is dependent on Pushan. Okay, so you will get to hear accidents, deaths due to accidents, etc. When you don't have the Pushan properly placed or Pushan afflicted or the Revati afflictions. We will talk about them when we do the examples. Because as such, if you straight away see there is an accident horoscope, you may not be able to identify. You may not be able to see sometimes the direct affliction of the Pushan, but there are ways to actually look at it. You have to mix it up with a lot of things. We will eventually learn all of that. But Pushan is the person who is, you may sometimes you may get to hear that, look, we were traveling from one place to another in a train and we lost our bag or maybe our gold or maybe something else, any belongings that are lost during the travel or, some an accident that has turned that has turned the life of the man or maybe lost a life due to an accident. If father died in an accident, you can actually spot it on in the child's chart as well. Okay, these are a few things which you can look at. However, he is primordially responsible for safe travel, especially the travels where the ocean has to be crossed. Like you traveled overseas, that is regulated mostly by the Revati or the Pooshan. So it means that the person is actually traveling to a foreign land. So we are talking about people who are living in the foreign country, especially in Revati. Okay. And he's the protector of the soul in its journey to the next world, as I said, protector and nurturer of the cattle and other herds, and also one who rules the path. Okay. So you have cattle and rearing of cattle, etc. These are the fields in which one can go and pet, yeah, and protector of animals, dog lovers, pet lovers, cow lovers, animal lovers, and all that. The symbols are pair of fish, like in the Pisces. Okay. You have a pair of fish, like in the Pisces. Also a nagada, we call it as nagada or a dundubhi, which is a large drum. Usually, two sticks are used to play this, and a boat and a shepherd, okay, and an elephant and a boatman and a cow with its calf. These are all the symbols associated with this. A pair of fish would say, when you see a pair of fish, it represents a cycle actually, okay, recycling cycle, anything that falls because Revati, all these nakshatras are falling in the 12th house of the natural zodiac, and the next nakshatra will be Ashwini, and the final one will be Bharani, because that is where the nakshatras stop. And Ketu is, Kritika is the first nakshatra. So you see what you see is, there is involvement of death and rebirth, right? That is what a circle would say. Because the face of the fishes are placed in such a way that the tip of one of the fish is facing the face of the another fish. So it looks like a cycle. And then a dundubhi would be usually played in case of festivals, celebrations, okay, and also when a person dies in most of the communities, people would play drums, okay. So it can represent both good and bad. The shepherd is someone who is the raider of a cattle and who is trying to protect all his sheep using this stick, okay. So it can be that man, an elephant, okay, and also a boatman. And so the shepherd would actually represent guidance, caretaking, okay, Pooshan's role as the rearer of the animals. And also you can look at travelers and somebody who is weak. All this is represented by uh, Pooshan or the Revati. Okay. This man is also known for nurturing, guiding, offering safe passage to under those in its influence. Cow, the bulls, and the calves. This is what is the main symbol. Because if you see Ushno Revati Gavaha, Gavaha means the cows, and Parastat Vatsa, Vatsa means the calves. Okay, cows and the calves. I think we've talked about cows a little, a few nakshatras before. What we understand from a cow is very, very close to humans or human emotions. Cow clearly understands that, the what is happening to the owner of the house. If the owner of the house who provides the cow the food, if he is ill, the cow would not take food. Okay, if due to any reason the owner dies, then the cow would not take food for many days. Okay, so cows are literally of the same emotion as humans. That is why cows are forbidden to be eaten by humans as per our shastras, because eating a cow would mean cannibalism, because they also share the same kind of emotions with humans. Okay, and cows are gentle, and cows are a lot of providing nourishment and stuff like that, and they are selfless beings. So the cow would give away little milk to its kids while it offers a lot of milk to us. Okay, and God has made it in such a way that there is abundance of milk in it. So besides providing milk to its own kids, it can give milk to the human beings. Okay, and it's a generous animal. It is grounded animal. It is having a lot of wisdom. If you take away a cow from the home, leave it somewhere, it is going to get back to the home very easily without any person's help, because it remembers the whole route very clearly. It can come back very easily. It does not need a person. So all these are some of the traits of uh, of Revati. Okay, so remembering roots very well. Okay, exactly opposite of Mrugashira. Mrugashira is very poor at remembering roots. Revati is very good at driving directions and remembering one scene, going to a place, how to go, etc. It's very good at. Mrugashira is exactly the opposite. It is very difficult for it to travel through or connect through a map or go ahead following a path, and it keeps forgetting routes. Okay, boatman. As everybody know, what does a boatman do? The boatman tries to help cross the river or a sea. Okay, so especially useful for safe travels. Okay, and also helps our soul when we pass when we die, and stable, peaceful destination reaching and all that stuff, as I just described a little while ago. And Vaitharani River is one of the most important things. Right. So let's look at the kind of nakshatra. Is it's a mridu, soft, tender, or a mild nakshatra? It's a Trayangamukha, okay, and it has 32 number of stars. So 32 would mean what we have as 32 in our body is 32 teeth. So all these teeth are placed in the jawline. So Revati afflictions would mean just not the teeth or the dental simple problems, but the jawline problems, wherein the whole jaw may have to be aligned, or maybe a root canal treatments for a couple of places here and there, and all that stuff. Okay. And then you have the nickname is the wealthy stars, the path guider, the animal keeper, protector of travelers, god of meetings. Okay. So besides the Anuradha, this also is important for meetings. Okay. And you have cows. Foundation above is cows, and foundation below is calves. So if you see cows and calves, they are usually having a herd mentality, wherein they go only a tested path. They're not going to deviate from what is proven. Okay, so Revati would has a herd mentality, wherein they are not on the creative side, but they are on the proven side. Okay, what I'm trying to say here is, do not think creative side is great and the proven side is bad. Okay, both are actually good. In fact, the proven side is much better because there are lower number of risks. On the creative side, if you have to create a path, there are more number of risks and there is more uncertainty. Revati does not like uncertainty. Okay, hope I'm clear. So if there is uncertainty, there is always upheavals in life. So Revati is more looking at the stabilization of the process. So if you have heard both these lectures of the Purva Bhadra and the Uttara Bhadra, what you must have understood is Uttara Bhadra, the man is trying to make stability of income, right? Why was Uttara Bhadra working? Uttara Bhadra does not want to work. Uttara Bhadra wants to rest all his life, do nothing. However, Uttarabhadra is only working for one reason, that he needs a stable income to come into his family. Uttarabhadra personally does not need any money, but his family, like his wife, his kids, his parents, would need money for their sustenance. Okay, so till the time Uttarabhadra reaches a place where a standard income is established, Uttarabhadra is working. So when once Uttarabhadra is crossed, you have Revati. So this person is trying to get into stability of income. If you need stability of income, and if you are on the creative side of it, it's exactly contradicting paths, right? You need stability of income. That means you have to go through a path which is already taken by somebody else, so that you know beforehand how much you are going to earn through this, or if this kind of a profession is stable. So most of the times, unless you have other implications or other factors like the Ardra or the Swati, who are highly creative, unless these things influence, most of the times Revati is into a routine job. They want to do a routine job or take up a profession wherein already somebody else has made his life. Okay. Let's look at mantra. Pushno Revati Gavaha. The mantra in English is here. Pushno Revati Gavaha Parastat Vatsa Avastat. Okay. So you have Pushno, that means the Pushan, who is the nourisher and the protector, like a mother. Okay. And you have, it's a god of fertility, abundance of prosperity, like the Pusha. So somebody might have abundance of wealth and prosperity. Okay. I keep saying, when you hear such terms, right, do not think that the person is rich. Okay. Abundance would not necessarily always mean rich. I'll give you two scenarios. Just try to understand this. The first scenario is, the person in fact is poor. Okay, doesn't have much money, but he is very satisfied with what he has. Okay. So this is Revati. He thinks he has abundant money because there is no definition for abundance. Whatever you need and you have more than that is abundance, right? So you may have a person who has 100 crore rupees and still think that he does not have abundant money. On the other hand, the other person may have just 1 lakh rupees and he may think that, look, I have abundant money. Okay. These are the things which are not, quantitatively specified, wherein it depends on the understanding of the person. He has abundance. The other example for Revati is, the person is poor, but he's relaxed. He's not, he's not bothered whether he has money or not. He thinks he has a royal life. He's poor. Okay. All that can be read. Also, the other thing is, the person thinks that, look, I need to cross the ocean. Let me cross the ocean, go there, establish myself, work for, I don't know, maybe 5 years, 10 years, and so on. Have stability in the income, like the Uttarabhadra did, even though that thing can be visible in Revati. The person establishes his career, but establishes everything, gets his family overseas, lives there for longer time. That also is Revati. Okay. And in fact, he has abundance. Okay. So the person is more or less happy. Okay. This is what um, Revati would say. I mean, either the other person who is looking at him may say, what does he have? He does not have penny in his hand and he is very poor. Uh, the other person might be thinking, look, he must be unhappy. But no, Revati guy is absolutely happy because he's happy within himself. Okay, sometimes it is good, sometimes it is bad. Okay, because if the Revati person happens to be poor And if he is lethargic, because Uttarabhadra and Revati are lethargic, they do not want to work. Okay, that's the downside of it. And if the person is not working, then if somebody else may have to take up the work. Let's suppose the husband is not working, being a Revati, then the wife is pushed in such a way that she has to go to work and earn because the guy is not working. Okay, so typically you would see these things, and we'll talk more about those things when that lethargy happens most and when the work happens the most. We'll talk about both those things. And you have guides of paths and travelers, road safety and accidents, as I said. So you must have heard two scenarios. A train, met with an accident. There was a traveler in the coach. He was traveling. Everybody else died, and this man did not even have a single scratch on his body. Came out, took another train, and reached home. Okay, everybody was thinking where this guy went for 3, 4 days. They must be thinking that this guy must have died, but he comes back home. I mean, these days there are mobile phones and things available. If you go back about 10, 15 years ago, if a train accident happens, when there was not enough media, you will get to know maybe after only 14 hours. And by the time that person will not be available, he must be in different train. Only after 1 or 1.5 day, we will get to see that the person is back. Okay. So so the person is safe most times, and he could also be unsafe depending on the afflictions. Because what gives you will also take away the same thing. Guardian of boundaries and transitions. Okay. So customs is one thing. Having problems with customs or happy with customs. Okay, both can be there. And immigration. These are the things, because if you have to immigrate to another place, get the citizenship of different country, you need to have a very good Revati. Okay, and the calm and composed Aditya. So this is one of those Adityas who is very calm and composed. Okay, so these people are peace loving. They do not generally get into arguments unless Ardra is very active. Okay, so usually peace loving people always living or want to live in a different world. Okay, so this person actually has something, but would be pursuing something else, like indulging into severe alcoholism, or he must be into a different world of spirituality. Externally he would be appearing here, but he would be living elsewhere. Okay, extremely materialistic person. I mean, I'll give you a few examples for the extreme materialism. Like, the person actually earns like 1, 2 lakh rupees of salary, spends like 20,000, 30,000 rupees for home, domestic things, saves a lot of money in the shares or whatever fetches him the most. Okay, he's looking at the most lucrative things and try to park all his money into those things, because he is looking at how I can make more money in less time. Okay, because it's an Aditya, he's related to time. Now he's monitoring the time. So this person is always checking out, should I put this into gold, or should I put this into shares, or should I put this into this? And he will evaluate all these instruments and say, look, shares happen to be better, physical gold is bad, and he's going to give you hundreds of theories around it. So that can be extremely materialistic. Or the person is completely unconcerned about everything on the material side, no matter what happens. He's not going to work, and his wife is struggling, and all that can also happen. Somehow is completely disconnected from others, despite the fact that he is along with us, but his mind is elsewhere. Okay. Protector of animals like dogs, cattle, cattle nurturers, and PETA, Blue Cross, all these organizations he can also be working for them, or maybe a volunteer for all of those. Gentle, wants peace, does not fight. Okay. Pooshan always sits on a cart pulled by goats, like the Agni. Okay. So this man is sitting on a cart pulled by goats. So if you have listened to Purva Bhadra, there also you must have seen Agni there. So this person as well is diplomatic. Okay. So something pulled by a goat would mean an Agni kind of a Devata, wherein the diplomacy is maintained. Revati would want to not talk nonsense in front of people, want to be as diplomatic as possible, understands that nothing is perfect in this world, everything will vanish very soon, and it is good to be diplomatic rather than cursing or finding faults with others. Okay, because it's exactly opposite to the Virgo. Virgo and Chitra, right? Chitra is always finding faults. Okay, uh, in the sense wherein mm, very detail oriented, goes very deep into what went wrong and stuff like that. That is Chitra, and tries to correct what went wrong, etc. And tries to pinpoint things. Look, in the team, this man did this mistake. That is why the sales are down. If it's a CEO who is Chitra, he would say, look, uh, thank you team for coming. This man did this mistake, so this is the result of it, and we lost so much. Let me be open and candid enough to say that this loss is the responsibility of this man. Okay, I mean it's not he's not trying to sue the guy or get him out of the business or nothing like that. Chitra is a very good nakshatra in those matters. However, he tries to make people responsible for it and tries to talk very openly and candidly. Wants to put things very straight in perspective. Revati is exactly opposite of it. Does not want to hurt the feelings of the others. If he can correct the thing by himself, he is going to do it. If he thinks that he cannot correct it, Revati would rather stay calm and ignore the whole conversation and keeps nodding his head and listens to both the sides of the complaint and will take no action on it. Okay, this is a typical Revati trait because he wants to be diplomatic. Anyway, the problem cannot be solved by both the parties. He would listen, like if the CEO is a Revati, then he would say, look, okay, who are all done what things? Okay, fine. Okay, let me hear from this man. Let me hear from this man. Let me hear from this man. Although he knows that the sales was down because of this particular man, he's not going to, he's not going to highlight him in front of everyone. So if the person is sensible, the other person is sensible, then he would think, okay, I know that the sales went down, but my manager did not highlight me in front of everyone. So he corrects himself and the company grows. That's a different scenario, however. But we are talking about the person who is the Chitra is the boss or the Revati is the boss. Okay, the result can be both ways because even if Chitra complains on that person in front of everyone, even that man may feel ashamed and he may correct himself and bring back sales. In both ways, positives can happen. I'm only talking about how Chitra or Revati are going to act oppositely. Okay, right. And problems of eyesight can also be there, and problems of jawline can also be there. There can be very good vision or very poor vision. Okay, and the couple are protected. Usually, marriage is very good in Pooshan, in Revati. There is a very good trait in Revati. Okay, that is, I mean, very visible trait of Revati, if you ask me, that is prosperity or downfall at every transition of life. Okay. Assume a kid who is going to, who is going through all his life. Whenever he crosses a stage of life, either there is a prosperity in life or downfall in life. Okay. So, as Revati, if you're born in middle class and lower middle class or poor family, you're blessed. As Revati, if you're born in a very rich family, the more likeliness that you are, going to go lethargic. Because if you have money, most of the times people go lethargic. Okay, unless other things influence them very rightly. Okay, so any Revati is there listening to this conversation, please take things lightly because these are all the exaggerated results of Revati. Not every time these will come. However, you have to see that you don't fall into lethargy. Revati and Uttarabhadra, the biggest problem with them is lethargy and postponing things. Okay. So if Revati falls into lethargy because his father has earned a lot of money as inheritance to him, if Revati falls into lethargy, then more likely that he is going downwards. Okay. If the Revati falls into a middle class or a lower middle class family, struggling the childhood, then it's more likely that the person is going to rise by leaving that country, going into another country and prospering there. Okay. Okay. And if children are, I mean, fertility in this is very good. Children, children are definitely there. And if the children are suffering due to any issues of health or finance, okay, then the person is not very, the person is not very happy in his life, and there can be downtrends. And most importantly, like the Uttarabhadra we talked about, the connection to Kama Trikonas and Artha Trikonas are going to change the whole concept of the thing. I'll give you an example. Okay, uh, you take mm, uh, okay, you take mm, Capricorn Lagna. Okay, Capricorn Lagna, and Moon isn't Moon is in Revati. Okay, I'm not giving the whole set of the horoscope. Uh, but I'm trying to give the best of what I can give right now. Okay, Capricorn Lagna, Moon in Revati. What happens? It's the seventh lord placed in third house. So both are Kama Trikonas. Seventh is Kama Trikona, third is Kama Trikona. Okay, and another case is the same thing, uh, Moon in Revati, but the Lagna is Gemini. Okay. There are a few days apart, two kids are born, one with Gemini Lagna, one with Capricorn Lagna. Host of planets are in Revati. What happens is the second lord happens to be Moon. It is in the Revati now because second lord is Moon from the Gemini. So it's in Revati. So second lord in the 10th house. So it is Artha Trikonas. The person with the Gemini Lagna was very responsible, born in a middle class or a lower middle class family, did not have much to eat or, not very resourceful at the childhood. He was raised till college by his brother because parents were poor from a village. And after having got a degree, he went out to work and then established himself. And today is very extremely happy and very wealthy. Okay. The other example is exactly about 5, 6 days. These two horoscopes are apart. A host of planets are in Revati. Okay, so the Capricorn guy has host of planets, including Venus, Saturn, Moon in the Revati. So the third house Lord went into when the second seventh house Lord went into the third house. So the Kama Trikona connection. This person was born in a rich family, went downtrend at each stage of life because of the lethargy. Okay. When we do examples, we will get to see more and more. But just try to see what are all the connections that Revati is making. If it is making all the Artha Trikona connections, it is absolutely great. Even if he is in the sixth house, Revati is very good. Revati and Uttarabhadra in the sixth house is also good because the person will try to leave lethargy every now and then and try to work because it's a common theme of lethargy in Uttarabhadra and Revati. Okay, so that is one. The next word we have is Revati. Revati, Raivata. Raivata would mean a mountain. Okay, somebody who is very tall is also called as Revati. Okay, because Balarama's wife was very tall. There's a story around it. I think I have included this here. Okay, so a marriage or a career where there is a big generation gap. Okay, so or a big height difference in the couple. So in case of marriage, what happens is in the couple, the guy is too tall and the girl is too short. This is typical Revati. Okay. Or the guy is actually a friend of the girl's mother. Okay. So the guy is like 10 years older to the girl. Actually happens to be the friend of mother, or maybe a relative, or a brother-like guy for the mother, and getting married to the girl. Okay. So there is a good generation gap between the couple. So, or they may not have a huge difference in the age, but one is like, too fast in the generation, and the other one is like little from the old school of thoughts. Okay, it can even happen that way. Right. You have a king or a kingly life, even though poor. This is one more trait which actually is very bad in case, Revati and lethargic. So you have a rich lifestyle. Besides, you are a poor man. It means that whatever resources you have, they are depleting very fast because you're trying to overspend on things just to show it to people that, look, I'm rich. Okay. This is one more bad thing that can happen with Revati. And again, the other extreme as well is possible. The person is trying to act like a poor man despite the fact that he's a rich man. It's just like the Uttarashada we talked about a few weeks ago. We talked about Uttarashada, right? We talked about Abhijatya in Uttarashada. We have a similar trait here also. Okay. I mean, not very visible as Uttarashada, but some or the other way, the person is actually trying to exactly act opposite of what he is. Okay. So he is saving too much than what actually has to be saved, or he's spending too much than what actually has to be spent. Okay. This increases as you have more and more planets into Revati and Uttarashada, maybe connected to Lagna, second house, and stuff like that. Okay, and somebody who's a solo traveler. Okay, Shravana is like a traveler with family, and this man Revati is more of a solo traveler most of the times. So if Shravana gets also connected, then he picks up the family and goes along with them. If it's just the Revati, what I have seen is he is a solo traveler. Like, most people go to the Middle East, right? They can't take their families there. What I see is most of the Middle East people are connected to Revati, and most of the US people are connected to Shravana. However, I've also seen a lot of people to the into the Revati going to either side. Okay? But if it's linked by any chance to the Shravana as well, then it becomes very easy for him to actually, get his family as well to the place where he is living. Okay, or somebody is actually interested in time traveling concepts who is just living the day without any concerns and not taking any action on wrong things happening around him. As I said, because he's a diplomat, he doesn't want to actually spoil relationships. He's not acting much on it. Someone who's living in a foreign country just because he can make more money, otherwise he wants to come back home. Okay. Govardhanagiri, Krishna, and Indra tail is also there. We'll talk about it. Gavaha, cow, the prosperity. Okay. So you have prosperity in the nakshatra. You need to know how to use the energy of the nakshatra to achieve prosperity in this. So for a person to achieve prosperity, the person has to face struggles at the start of life. If he is facing riches and if he is facing what is that? You know, um, क्या बोलते हैं? What do we call that? I'll tell you. Maybe after a few minutes it will come. I'm not getting the right word. Okay, cowherd mentality. Mothers raise individuals and spoil them. Yeah, getting spoiled as a kid just because there is too much love. The mothers are protecting too much the kid, and they do not want their kid to actually, face any difficulties. Um, what exactly do you call that in Telugu? We call that garam. What is that called exactly in English? Can somebody please help me with the right word, please?
Pampering.
Yes, yes, yes. Thanks for the word. Pampering. So extra pampering. Okay. Extra pampering by the parents or the grandparents. What I have seen is that the grandparents are alive. If a Revati is born or a Magha is born, there is too much of pampering. Okay. Magha still Magha may still recover, but Revati sometimes gets spoiled, doesn't have a proper education because he's the only, boy kind of a boy child in the family. Uh, and आजकल है ना वंश का एक ही बंदा है. These are all those things, right? Not आजकल, every time. Since many years, you get to see that he's the only guy, only male here available for us, and all that can spoil the kid. Okay. And also, as you can see, Pushan lost all his teeth in the uh, Daksha Yagna. Daksha Yagna I wanted to cover since long days. We will see if Rohini gets over very early. We will cover that day about Daksha because Rohini is Daksha. Okay. We will cover that on that day. So when Daksha Yajna was happening, this man Pushan, the Muni Pushan, lost all his teeth. Those teeth were removed by the Virabhadra. So he could only, this man eats porridge, soft drinks, does not like chewing things. Anything that is hard, like, you give him a Mysore pak, he would say, look, I don't want Mysore pak. I don't like it, right? Everybody eats Mysore pak, right? Everybody knows, Indians know what a Mysore pak is. A Mysore pak is a sweet, which is very hard to chew. It's very sweet thing. This guy likes kova, okay? Or what I have also seen is people who are interested in porridge, what is it, cornflakes and stuff like that. Very, very interested in cornflakes over the milk, okay? Somebody having dental issues, issues in chewing food, jawline faults, fractures, somebody who's falling on his jaw while he was falling off, broken jaw can be there, and all that. And it takes a long time for them to actually get that jawline aligned back into place. And if there is jawline issues or if there are dental issues in Revati, okay, if a person has a very strong Revati and he has dental issues, and if they're not attending to those dental issues, postponing them for whatever reason, you would get to see downfall. Okay, so the best remedy is find out if the person is complaining on prosperity issues, job issues, career issues, and stuff like that. The first question you ask him is, do you have issues of dental or jawline issues, or usually root canal issues, or bad breath issues? Get them solved and then get back to work. Pretty soon they're going to recover. If they're trying to postpone them, they are going to go south. They are going to go down. Okay. Person sticks to something for long, and also teeth gum issues, as I said, and also it's also called as Revati, can also mean Kunjara. Kunjara means an elephant. That means who is very robust, tall, best, strong, everything. Bull, cattle, herd animals, lion or tiger or snake, all these are called as Revati. Pinaka is also another name for Revati. The man at the door or the gatekeeper or a path instructor. Somebody who actually lifts the door up for you to pass through. That is Pooshan. So he can be a gatekeeper. Okay. So the security at your home, rich people keep security at home, right? Or even these days, gated communities, you have the security. So somebody is not allowing you inside. So that kind of a person is Revati, or somebody who is allowing you inside is also Revati. Okay. So afflictions would mean not allowing. Without afflictions, a good Revati would mean allowing inside. Helpful to all in the community or village. He is a descendant of a Shukra or a Venus, because this is where Venus exalts. Venus exalts at a place where it is, highly prosperous, does not have to do anything, and there is all riches. Okay. This is good in one way, bad in another way. As I say, lethargy is one thing which this can promote. At the same time, this can also promote without having to work, or with little effort, you get more benefits. Okay. Ungava or the ox, the best of all, venerable, virtuous. Vatsa. This is an important word, Vatsa. Vatsa means everybody knows. Vatsa is a Sanskrit word common in Telugu, common in Hindi, most of the Indian languages. Vatsa means a son. Vatsa. Okay, just the akarant would be a little different. Somebody would say Vatsa, somebody in some language it would be Vatsa. So all that would mean a son. So there is something connected to sons here. Okay. So either the person has a son who, the native has a son who he is very, very attached to. Okay. If this son is not performing well in health, okay, the Revati is actually underperforming or performing negatively. If the person, I said an example, right? Wherein the Capricorn guy connected the seventh Lord Moon is in the Revati alongside Venus and Saturn. This man has a son. Okay, so fifth house, sun, exalted Venus. This son is actually about 20 years old, got cancer. Okay, that's why I keep saying just by merely looking at the fifth lord being in exaltation, do not clap your hands saying that, look, you have an exalted fifth lord. It means that it is very great. Not every time this is right. It may happen a few times that is right, but not every time this is right. So, due to afflictions, I'm not denying that there are no afflictions. There are afflictions. Yes, you can identify that. So, this person got cancer. The person is constantly falling down because he was very rich guy at one point in time. Today, he is penniless. Okay. Ah, all right. So, underperformance of the native, just in case the health of the sun is going down. If the son's health is a concern, the person will go to any stage. The native will go to any stage. I'll give you another example. A guy has got a son. He used to stay in a colder place. Okay, US is all in the north mostly, right? Northern hemisphere, so cold place he was living. And the son who he got was actually suffering from congestion, lung congestions, very often when the winter is too high in the cold climate. So the doctor advised him, you better, stay at a place where there is less cold so that he improves on health. He resigned that job. Okay, did not have a job, resigned that job, quickly moved into the southern US, like the Florida, I think Texas or Florida, somewhere around that place. Found a job again. Maybe he stayed without job for 6, 7 months. Found a job, and he's happy for his kid. Okay, so they will go to any extent of protecting their son. That is Revati. Second is the native himself is treated like a son, although he is, Vatsa means a small kid who cannot move on himself, or who does not have the brains to actually, do something. That is called as Vatsa. Okay, or usually Vatsa is, when it is used even in the Hindi serials or comedy shows, we get to see Vatsa is used by the sadhus to their disciples. It means that you are not able to find a path of your own. I am trying to direct you, or you cannot move on your own, and I'm trying to take you. Okay, so that is the typical meaning of Vatsa, or the exact meaning of Vatsa, because Guru is the person who would actually take you to the next stage of life. So it means that the person is paralyzed, the person cannot move on his own, and somebody else is actually helping him move, because when the person is just born, he cannot move on his own. His mother has to lift him up and place elsewhere. Right. The family gets a good name or a bad name due to this person. Okay. Just like Mula, right? Mula is also the center of attraction. Similarly, mm, Revati is also the center of attraction. I mean, they may not be very visible from the outside thing. However, because they're very far off from the family most of the times. They don't stay with their parents all through their life. They're always away from their parents. They're far off. And the parents here would keep saying, look, my kid is in US, or my kid is in the UK, etc. Or maybe he stays in Bombay, he stays in Bangalore, whereas the parents are in the village. Seasonal jobs like Hindu priests, farmers, caterers, etc. Because caterers would be like the Poshana thing, the Pooshan. So even that is possible. Farmers are giving food for everyone. That is possible. Vatsa can also mean breasts. So breast cancers or, what is that? Lactose intolerance can also be there. Vatsalya means affection. Affection meaning showing affection or needing affection. So this person may need a lot of affection because it's a watery sign, right? It's a too much of water there in Pisces. Everything is in water. So every water means needing emotions. So the person needs a lot of emotional support. Outwardly, he may not appear so. Okay. Revati is the daughter of a king. She was very tall and could not find a suitable groom for the marriage. Her father took her to Brahmaloka to understand from Brahma directly who is the right person for marriage. Brahma was in a meeting and the gatekeepers asked them to wait for a couple of minutes. Again, the gatekeepers, couple of minutes. When the couple of minutes passed and Brahma came up and said, look, a lot of yugas passed by when you reached here. This is the time travel theory. I think this theory is right as per Einstein and others. So if you go to another loka, spend there a few minutes, a lot of years must have passed here. That can be possible if you can travel faster than light. Okay, right now we have not understood how to travel faster than light. Maybe I don't know when it will come. When that comes, then there will be a lot more things will change. So when these people were waiting at 2-3 minutes, a lot of yugas passed by. Brahma came back and said, "Look, there is a person called Balarama who is the elder brother of Sri Krishna. Today it's a Dwapar Yuga happening. The Manu has changed. The Dwapar Yuga is happening now. You go back and get your girl married to him immediately." So these people fly back, and Revati gets married to Balarama because Revati was very tall. It would mean that the native marriage with a big generation gap and a notable height difference. Native marries into his own people like Bharani, sisters, daughters, cousins, family friends. Usually, what I've seen is family friends getting married to each other. Like, I know the groom knows the bride's father or the bride's mother as friends. Maybe, they share the same office or the groom is like 25 years, or maybe 30 years old. The mother is like 45 years old or so, and the kid is like 25, 20 years old. She likes, the guy at the office. Uh, you know, she gets her tied to him. That's how it is. Then it is called, the other one is Govatsa Nyaya or Govatsa Nyayam. This is a Sanskrit term. Govatsa Nyayam. That means how cows protect their children. Okay, there's immediately after the birth of a calf, if you observe, the cows lick all of that dust from their kids or the calf's body, overly pampering, overly dependent on the parents or the grandparents. Okay, and similar to Bharni, the relative is protected like a child, depending on the houses. Tenth would mean his boss treats him like a kid. Okay, third would mean a sibling would treat him like that. Second would mean that the family would treat him like that. So you have to see what is all dispositing into it. So they will be called like, with nicknames. In Telugu or Tamil. Tamil they call like Chellam. In Telugu, Babu, Chotu. No matter how much ever they may be like 50 years old, but they would still be called as Chotu. Okay, that actually would say that it's a Revati. Okay. The native may be treating everyone like this. So it can also so happen that it is not the native is being treated, but the native is actually treating someone else like that. Okay. I have another example wherein, it's a Gemini Lagna. The ninth lord is Saturn. Saturn is in Scorpio. Scorpio's dispositor Mars is in Pisces. Okay. So the person treats his father, right? Because ninth lord is being disposited into Pisces, into Revati. The person treats his father like a kid, okay, like his own kid. He actually sends a lot of money to him. He pampers him too much, okay, and all that. tries to protect all that nonsense the father is making. Okay. If he gains independence from parents and moves away from them, he is going to excel well. This is the first thing you have to look at. If the Revati is alongside his parents, it is not a very good Revati. He is actually leaving the country, moving away from the birthplace and his parents. Then this person is actually going to struggle in the life, because moving away from the parents would mean he's not going to get pampered anymore. He has to, wash his own clothes. He has to cook his own food and iron his own clothes, get everything ready, go to the office, struggle for some time, learn cooking, learn managing everything for him by himself. Those are all those things that he will eventually learn during the adulthood, right? During the teenage of 15 till 20, 25, what I have seen is, if Revati is out of the village that he is born, or the place that he is born, moves out, finds a way for him to actually excel in life, that is when the whole thing happens. I have put in the Daksha Yagna here, but it's too difficult to explain within this time. Please go and watch Daksha Yagna movie. We will talk about Daksha Yagna for sure in the next class, because we have Rohini. However, what is here is Revati, the Pushan chewed the oblation and the Veerbhadra broke his jaws. So you can see that the jaws of Revati are not very good. Okay. So the jawline is a problem, or the whole set of teeth that usually people get replaced for, and they get the whole set of teeth replaced. Even that is Revati. Venus's exaltation. So why does Venus exalt here? Venus exalts when there is nurturing and motherly love. Okay. Venus exalts when the native gives donations. So a lot of people donate here, or they may receive donations. So if the condition of the man is very poor, he lives on donations. Despite that, the person is actually spending those donations meaninglessly. Okay, if the Revati is afflicted, the Revati is very good connected to 2, 6, 10 houses, then it would actually mean that the person is earning a lot, saving a lot, and also donating some of his money. Okay. Venus likes royalty, luxury living. Venus likes purity in relations. So if you have good planets in Venus, in Revati, any planets for that matter, if your Revati is good, if you're abstaining from adultery, etc., they're going to work well. If you're behind prostitution and namby-pamby things, flirting with women, and etc., it means that the Revati may go downside for the karma that you're doing. Okay. And Venus likes to, anyway, just in case somebody approaches you for going down, or having career issues, etc., that this should not be a first question of committing adultery or anything. Do not even embarrass them. Your thought process should tell you whether he has done such crimes. You may have to give him as a caution, just in case you are in this, then please refrain from that. But never confront them, asking, "Are you into adultery, prostitution, etc.?" Please don't embarrass them. Venus likes to leave ego. Sage Brigu had an eye in the feet, so it was plucked out by Vishnu. Parashurama is another Venus. We will talk about planets, so we will understand who Parashurama is as we start planets. Parashurama surrendered to Rama, and Bhrigu surrendered all the wealth to Kashyap. Okay, so it means that the person is not keeping any of his wealth for his own thing. If the Revati is strong and the person becomes selfish, okay, in an example wherein the person of Revati, of an example, I know one guy who has a very strong Revati. The whole earning of the family is dependent on the wife. This person is actually a smoker and a drinker, doesn't earn anything. His wife gets some money, very meager amount of money, a small job she does. He pulls off like 50% of that money and spends that away in drinking and smoking, etc. Okay, so if the person becomes selfish like that, it means that the Revati Even if you have exalted Venus, it is actually working for the downside of the person. Okay. So just see the path of the individual, just not merely be on whether the Venus is exalted or the Saturn is exalted, etc. Any planet being in exaltation or debilitation does not mean that it is plus and minus. It is based on the person's path that he is taking, based on the um, significations of that particular nakshatra, either the progress or the regress of the individual will happen. Okay. Venus likes diplomacy and karya sadhana. Okay. Venus is not interested in nitpicking things. Okay, that is what Chitra does. He tries to pinpoint where the problem is, whereas Revati is looking at, is the job is the job done? Is the thing working? Is it happening? Are sales coming? Okay. If I am a boss and if I embarrass my salesperson by pinpointing and saying, look, you are the guy who is responsible for this failure, then you are embarrassing him in front of everyone. And the risk is he might lose, I mean, he might resign and go away. And tomorrow we may not find anyone for the work. That kind of attitude Revati has. There is no necessity that it may happen if Chitra confronts the other person. Okay. Okay. Native is overly pampered by their parents and grandparents in the childhood. This is common. Either the person is going up or down. This guy is like maybe the last child, or they were expecting a male child for a long time. They did not have one, and this guy is very pretty, and that's why everybody likes him. He's very good looking and all that. Okay. That's why he's pampered most. Maybe the last kid, that's why pampered most. Or maybe the eldest kid, that's why pampered most. For whatever reasons, there is a reason why the pampering is happening. Okay, like the Magha. Native took advantage of this pampering and skipped serious education and enjoyed in the childhood, wasted a lot of time, especially when connected to 3711. Okay, this is what I have observed. I have not read this anywhere, but I found this to be working like a gem. Okay, wherever I have seen, um, I just gave the example of Gemini and Capricorn, where the Venus is an exaltation alongside Saturn and Moon. Okay, in that case, what happened was both have the exalted Venus. One has the second lord connection to Venus. The other has the seventh lord connection to Venus. And the Artha Trikonas and the Kama Trikonas got connected, and they are living two different lives. Okay, completely different. Someone who had a safe journey was also a traveler, and so the person has to go away from the home. That is what is important in reality. If he's leaving for college, stays in hostels, that is the best thing. If he's a Revati, let him go. Do not tie him to the parents. If the parents are afraid, oh no, how my kid is going to do all that, then the kid is going downside. Please don't do that. Safe journey as a solo traveler when connected to second, seventh as Marcus, some relative who has died in an accident during a travel. 12th and 3rd also get connected along with the second and seventh. You have that particular native died of an accident. Let's suppose ninth Lord connected to second, seventh, 12th, and third, all these get connected. Then the person actually, the father dies off in an accident. Okay. Aspects from Saturn, Mars, Ketu are important along with D9 confirmations. Please don't jump and say, look, your father has died, etc. Please don't do such predictions. However, if the opposite person tries to say that, look, my father died of an accident, you may use that to, check whether the birth time is correct or not using those principles. Every transition stage, college, education, career start, first travel in life, marriage, childbirth, parents' death, the native is either prospering or losing money constantly. Okay. Gain or loss depends on the native, mostly. If he can change himself out of lethargy, if he goes out, this person is actually blessed with a lot of things. If he goes out for work, everybody would offer him work. Just because he's lethargic, this person is not going out because this person is a very learned man. He has all the skills of acquiring work, but still he's lethargic, does not want to work. Okay, like Bharani, the native is protected by mother or by the relative shown by the house. Or the native is protecting them like a mother. Ninth Lord Dispositor in Bharani or in Revati, native is protecting the father, father is protecting the native. Overprotection. Okay, possessiveness also you can say. Native is overly concerned about his son or his first daughter about the health or career. He will change his city, leave his career. I just gave you an example on this. Native's further progress will be hampered if the son is detected with a disease. Okay. If his children are healthy, the native progresses in his life. Native and spouse are having a generation or a height gap. Native is married to a sibling's daughter or a close cousin, similar to Bharani. Okay. Native's eyes are plucked out due to an accident in travel. 10th from Lagna, 10th from Moon are connected to 8th and 3rd. Also look at D9 and D3 for confirmations. Because Bhrugu's eye was removed by Vishnu. Venus is Bhrugu. Venus exalts here. Native does not like to oppose anything because he's a diplomat, as I said. Will let go everything, does not complain much. Uttarabhadra had outbursts of anger, but this nakshatra is completely soft. Uttarabhadra also does not complain sometimes. He lets go of things. But at one point in time, it becomes so irresistible for Uttarabhadra. He would say, why you have been talking nonsense for 2 hours? I cannot tolerate anymore. I'll slap you on your face right now. And he utters nonsense to the person, whoever has been speaking nonsense for 2 hours in front of him. And after that, the whole relation is spoiled. However, in case of Revati, what happens is that is not happening. He takes up all that nonsense the other person is saying, keeps calm, shakes hands with him, leaves the scene, lives happily. Okay. Tour operators, guides for tourists, directing a team of people, handling a transport business, transporting, ticketing, transporting, all that, right? These kind of names you will get to hear. I received a ticket and I have delivered that ticket. This is the usual language in Revati. Okay. PETA, Blue Cross, cattle rearing, farming, all these kinds of businesses the native is employed in. Jawline fractures, jawline dislocations, issues, eye issues, paralysis. But you need to observe from every angle to pronounce any of these diseases. Please don't jump and say, look, you have paralysis issue or anything. Do not predict anything like that. Okay? Do not give a negative prediction. Person is highly diplomatic like Agni, okay, and takes everything as duty. So, despite the fact that the Revati is in the watery sign, this shows a lot of calm and composed attitude, and the person keeps a lot of diplomacy. Okay, and usually helps everyone in the community, friends, relatives, etc. Native is constantly in his imaginary world. This imaginary world can be anything: indulgence into alcohol, sitting in front of a computer alone, transcending in meditation, staying away from family, extremely materialistic. He would just sit alongside us, but he would be in his own loka. Okay, he would be thinking whatever he's thinking. Kama spoils the native, while Artha helps the native on material success. Kama means not the lust side. Kama means the selfishness. Okay, let me keep everything for me. That is exactly opposite of what Revati has to do. My job is to serve my people. Okay, if I'm doing that, Revati and Uttarabhadra is excellently working. If the job is, if the whole family, the whole household gets X rupees and 70% of that X is consumed by my own self, it means that the Revati is very badly performing. Okay, because Venus looks at purity in the person. If the purity is lost, the person is lost. Do not think Venus being in exaltation would mean purity. Please remove these kind of stuff from your brain. It does not mean like that. Okay, now we have come to the place wherein we get to see houses. And from the Lagna, if the dispositor of a house lord is placed in the first house, you refer to the first house. If the dispositor of the second lord is placed, is connected to Revati, then you refer to second house. So first lord, dispositor or the Lagna dispositor is in Revati or the first house cusp is in Revati, then please refer to all these things. Any of these things or many of these things or all of these things can happen. Okay. Second house connections, because second house deals with the teeth, extended jawline. You know, when we were in the school, uh, when we used to draw the social books, we used to have Shivaji and such people like Shivaji, the Maratha ruler, Chhatrapati Shivaji. When we used to draw those things right in the notebook, I always felt like Shivaji had a very extended jawline. The chin is very long. This is a typical Revati. The chin, at least in the adult time, like when he is 18, 19, 20 years of age, the chin is actually prolonged because the Veerabhadra tried to pull the beard of the Revati or the Pooshan. When you try to pull the beard, right, you have an extended chin downwards. Replacement of teeth required due to accident or old age or decay. If both 2-7 markas are connected to third house, ninth house, along with third, 12th, can indicate death of a sibling or a father due to an accident. Ensure D9 also, gets along here. Connected to second, sixth, 10 houses, increase in prosperity, especially if the native has left home at college level or first job or became responsible somehow for himself. Because what Revati or Uttarabhadra understands first is they have to feed themselves first. The need of feeding themselves first has to come in. And if mother and the father are there alongside him, it's a curse for him. If one of the parents die off, or the boy goes off to a hospital. Okay, those are those things that are going to help the native to actually progress in life because now he has to work for himself. There is no one to support him. Okay, such thing has to happen in the adulthood or in the teenage, adolescence age. If both 2-7 markers are connected, third lord, same thing. Okay, downfall is connected to 3-7-11. So if the third house gets connected to seventh house and the dispositor gets to 11th house, it means that there is a lot of problems. And you have more exalted planets here, you have more problems because the person is very relaxed with the exalted planets. You have more exalted planets in your chart. It means that without having to work, you are looking at gaining money. This is what the simple definition is. This is a thumb rule. You have more debilitated planets, you are looking at working and earning, learning and earning because debilitation will bring you down and you will sit on the ground first, try to climb up. If you're there on the exalted nature, it means that you're already very high and you want only to go downwards. You cannot go upwards. So if a poor person has exalted planets, it means that the person is going to go lethargic. If a rich person has exalted planets, it means that he may sustain that wealth. If a rich person has, uh, you know, debilitated planets, it means that he's going to further work on that and maybe increase his thing more. Okay. So for material prosperity, you need debilitated planets. They're going to work much better. However, it's a very generalized statement. You have to look at from the Lagna. I would rather suggest not to use debilitation, exaltation at all in the first D1 chart or the Rashi chart. Mother is extremely pampering the natives, which is not very good. Okay, the native is protecting his mother, providing her money and gold, which can be good. Okay, or the native is being protected by his mother. The native is keeping career, earning money, and wasting time. Check Artha Trikonas or Kama Trikona connection. Mother has dental issues. Home buying has brought rise in career or downfall. Okay, so whenever this guy bought a home, there is either a rise in the career or a downfall in the career. Okay, the native is fertile, fifth house. Native is strongly concerned about his son. If he has some health issues due to which the native has changed his city, he's constantly concerned about the child's career all through his life. His only wish of life would be my kid has to be settled. Okay. If my kids are doing well, I'm pretty happy. This is, I mean, you may say that this is the dream of every father, but an ideal father is a Revati because it's the cow and the calf. Mother has dental issues, detachable teeth, because this happens to be the second house from the fourth house. So detachable teeth, childbirth, and career rise or downfall, depending on 3711 or 2612 or 2610. Rise in career, because sixth house can also mean it's a upachaya house, which is going to trouble the native. At the early days, if there are troubles for the native, the prosperity comes in because the native is going to put hard work and he understands. See, what happens is when you set off in a career at an early age, right? The person will be able to take insults from the manager because he's still a kid. But when he gets a job after 32 or 33, if he has not worked at all in the past, this guy would carry a lot of ego. You would see that if you're an HR guy or a recruiter. That's why a lot of people will not recruit them if the age is over for him to be employed as the first job, because seldom these people can stay in a job. Okay, I'm very generalizing here, just in case somebody gets offended. I'm very sorry for it, but that's the general thinking of people. Okay, rise in career with the sixth house connections. It's a very good connection, sixth house connection, because if you look at Venus, right? Venus has the Mula Trikona in the Libra. Okay, Venus owns the powerhouse of his powerhouse is Libra. Where does he exalt? Six houses from Libra. So it is very good for him on the sixth house. At least the person actually puts in work. I mean, you may say that sixth house, Bhrugu Shashtaka, is a very bad thing. Yeah, it is a very bad thing because you have to work, right? You have to work. It's a very good thing. You have to understand why the perspective is, what perspective you are looking at it. Okay. So if the person has a sixth house Venus, it means that there's a lot of work that he has to do, which is a good thing. If you have a lot of physical work, you're going to stay healthy, right? Instead, you have a 12th house Venus, you dislike working. You do not want to work, you're looking at shortcuts, right? Or somebody else has to work, he gets the money, or he becomes an employer. He would not want to work. See, both have their own pluses and minuses. It depends on the situation the person is in. Please do not generalize any of the position. Do not think sixth house Venus is bad or fourth house Jupiter is bad. No, it is good in one sense, it is bad in another sense. It depends on the person, what he is actually looking for. Okay. Hope I'm trying to make sense every time I talk anything like this. Okay, dental issues turning into a vegetarian, love for animals, phobia for animals, okay, phobia for dogs, okay, especially I've seen they're afraid of dogs if you have sixth house connections, or afraid of any pets or any pet animals. Love for milk or lactose intolerance, donation interests, okay, seventh house, good married life with a generation gap or height difference or cousin or cousin's daughter or parents' friend, etc. Downfall is connected more to Kama Trikonas, especially after marriage. Native was wealthy in the childhood, has seen a downfall after every step in life. Native supports wife like a mother. Wife supports him like a mother. Okay. Check connections with 10th house for blindness issues, dental issues of spouse because second house from the seventh. Rise or fall in career after each death in the family. Father is not being is being protected by the native, providing him everything, money, gold, vehicle, etc. Father does not spend any money. Native spends everything for him. Both can happen. Okay, either the father is protecting the native, or the native is protecting the father, or in the childhood, father protected the native, and in the in the old age, father is receiving everything from the native. Both can happen. Boss helps the native, protects him every time a wrong thing happens in the company, or mentors or nurtures him like his own child. The native is doing so for his own boss. Okay. Gains a lot, fortunate, however, gets all the karma triconas connected. This will make him a lazy guy because it's karma. That means without work, how can I do something? That's the karma. This may continue if connections to eighth is also evident. 12th house, traveled solo to a distant land. He's protected despite an accident or calamity. What I usually get to hear is, a guy went into the US, lost his baggage, got his baggage, maybe half of his baggage was retrieved, maybe one bag was lost, nothing much was there inside it. However, whatever was necessary, they were all protected. You can see such things in the 12th house connections. Uh, Turn into a vegetarian, love for animals against the sixth, because sixth and 12th house are opposites to each other. Unless connected to the Shravana, the native goes on a trip to a faraway place alone and will return to reunite with his family. Okay. So more or less, I'm done. Any questions that you have, I'll be happy to answer. Any feedback that you want to give, I'll take that as well. Any questions or feedback, please?
Sir, I can share my feedback. I'm the person with Revati. I have a ascendant Lord Moon in Revati,
Oh,
and
okay.
I could,
You're a Cancer ascendant and your moon is in Revati. Okay.
yeah, that's right. I noted the points you mentioned in the lecture. So I have eye issues actually. Recently, I've been having eye issues. It's not clear from the doctors whether it is inflammation of the eye or any dry eye. It could be also related to arthritis, they're saying. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to figure out. And from a young age, like when I
I'll
was,
tell you, I'll ask you a simple question. You take a bath, you come out and you have redness in the eyes. Am I right?
no. Like almost on since December 2023, almost on monthly basis, I'll get red eye, as in it's due to inflammation, and I already have inflammation.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and from a young age, you mentioned about the jaw. So I was born not when I was growing up. It was clear to my parents that my lower jaw was coming out, like it was. Usually, for most people, the upper jaw will cover the lower jaw. For me, it was the opposite. The lower jaw was covering the upper jaw.
Okay.
So I had to go to a dentist when I was 8 years old, and I got corrective braces, and now it is fine. Now the upper jaw is over the lower jaw, and this is kind of a rare condition. Apparently, not many people have it. Uh, yeah,
It's
that
very
was
it's very common in Revati. Okay. I know at least two
right.
people who have the lower jaw dislocation. Maybe it could be of accident or falling off down. Maybe that's what you are saying is a birth thing, right? You got it through the
Yeah,
birth.
by birth, I was like that, and even now, if I look at the jaw, like if I take a dental, what do you call it, dental imprint, it will
Yeah.
be as if like one part of the jaw is moved to the side. Like on my
Mm.
face, it's not visible, but I know it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
a very
slight.
clear of Revati. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Then from the age of 19, I have lived away from my parents.
Okay.
I either was in hostel or I moved out to a different country. Like I've lived in North America since the age of 19.
Right.
And more often I do solo travel. If I don't get any persons who want to come with me, I'll just go on my own.
Right.
And I never had any issues with immigration or anything. Though many people, many people have face such issues. Touch wood, I never had any issues.
Yeah.
And I always feel as if even if I'm in the company of people, I am in a different world. Like I am not able to, uh,
Right.
though I'm there, I'm not there, kind of.
Right.
And I do require a lot of emotional support, even though I don't show it. Like I'm pretty calm. I don't show it. Like I won't demand. Okay, I need this, I need that. But it would be good if I had it like that.
Right. Typical
And
Revati.
yeah,
Do you have any
generally,
do you have any planets in the Cancer?
I don't have planets in Cancer. I have most of my planets in Rohini, actually. Maybe we'll
Oh,
discuss that later.
okay.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, oh yes, in my family, many people have Revati. Most of my cousins have Revati. My aunt has Revati. Some planet in Revati. And we are all animal lovers. Even in fact, my cousins, they foster dogs. Um, and my sister also, she also is a big animal lover. She also has some Revati planets, and she also every day she feeds dogs.
Right. Okay.
So these are the traits I observed.
You got most of them, right?
Yeah, many connecting. And
Mm.
one more thing I wanted to say, like if I'm in any, for example, if I'm in any group project or something, or if I'm getting some work done from somebody, I don't like to point their mistakes, because as long as the work is done, I don't care to go into the details. Like as long
Right.
as it's done, that's all matters to me.
Correct. Correct. That's a typical Revati trait. And it's a very good trait. I mean, most of the subordinates like Revati than Chitra because Chitra is very outspoken. But Chitra can actually direct the individual much, much better than Revati. Okay, because Chitra is more intelligent, and Revati is not an intelligence. Revati is actually more of a, like the mother pats on the shoulder of the boy and keeps saying, "Look, you can do. Just keep going. That's it." But Chitra, what happens is he sits with the employee, pinpoints him, maybe insults him in front of everyone, sits with the same guy, and explores the whole stuff and says, "Look, this is what has gone wrong. Go back and correct this. Then you can make double sale of what actually you have lost the last month." Okay, but Revati doesn't do that. So both of them have their own positives and their negatives. Okay. Sorry, I
Right.
interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah, since I don't have like the sixth or tenth lord connected to Revati, I don't know about this aspect. But yeah, I'm just telling in general about like if I have to hire a contractor to do some work, and if they are not done it properly, as long as the work is done, I'm fine. I don't want to know whether they did it late or whether they bought the wrong thing. I'm not bothered to know all those things.
Mm, mm, mm. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I could relate.
Thank you. Anybody else is there? That's it.
Hello, sir. I want to
Yes.
share my mother's ascendant lord is in Revati. Like she's Pisces ascendant, and her ascendant lord Jupiter and Mars both are placed in Revati.
Wow.
So her right eye was very weak since a young age, and yes, she was very too much pampered by her grandparents. She tells a lot about it. So.
Okay. What else would you see? Any more traits that you get to see here?
Mm,
Um, the teeth are all fine because the second lord as well is in the Revati, right?
right. Her jaw is fine.
Okay. Maybe the second lord from the moon is very, very well placed.
Yes, that is in Rikshira in third house.
Okay. That is the reason. Okay. Did she live along with parents all through, or did she have to move elsewhere in the college level or so?
Yeah, yes, for college level, she moved away to far away place, and after that, she got married. So,
Okay. Okay. That's nice. Then her Revati is working well.
yes, sir.
Okay. Ustad,
Okay. So I have my father has this Revati. He has
okay.
got Taurus Lagna and
Okay.
His Venus is in Cancer, and it, the dispositor moon is in Revati.
Okay.
So he has got a lot of traits you mentioned, but not the lethargy one. He is very active because, as you told, he left his home in childhood itself. My grandmother used to remain very ill, so he had to leave, and he has lived most of his life with my grandfather in the city, and grandmother used to live in the village, and she was ill. So he has to be dependent on himself. So
Okay.
he became very prosperous after his parents passed. Till that time, he was struggling mostly, although he
Right.
was out of his village, out of his town, everything. But his success came a little late in life. But yes, he is very successful, rich, and yes, you also mentioned teeth issues. A few years back, he was having teeth issues. Like food used to get stuck in his teeth. He got it done, but still food gets stuck in his teeth. So I don't know how to solve that.
Okay.
So he was also facing some business issues because of that. But after that, they got resolved. A lot of his stuck money came back. One of his land was embezzled by some guy who
Mhm.
scammed a lot of people for about 20 crore rupees of land, in which
Mhm.
his share was about 50 lakhs or 40 lakhs, and it came back after he got his teeth fixed. So,
Wow.
and other people's money did not. That is the fun part to mention. So
Okay.
yeah, and he doesn't show, he's very of angry nature, but if you see him in alone, he'll cry. Like once he was going to
Okay.
actually,
Is the Venus in Pushyami?
yeah, wait a minute, yes, it's in Pushami Pada 2.
That is why it is. That is why he is the rich man. Okay. Otherwise, the general third connection to 11th connection would actually make the person very lethargic because that's
So
there in Pushyami connection. That's the only thing has protected him. Okay, go
okay,
ahead.
he works like a horse from morning to evening, even if somebody is supporting him or not supporting him. He is a very mm, bossy person.
Okay, that's
And
the
yes,
he has the Lagna in the Rohini, right? You said Rohini is the
yeah,
Lagna.
yeah, I'm a little confused whether it's Rohini or it's Mrigashira, but it looks like Rohini. Yes, it's Rohini,
Rohini,
but
because
I'm a little.
Mrigashira is a very timid person.
He is
Mrigashira
not
is
timid
not
at all.
bossy.
He is
Mrigashira is
not
not
timid
bossy.
at all.
Mrigashira is not bossy. It is Rohini who can be bossy because Indrasya Rohini is Indra is the bossy guy.
Yeah, he is the Indra. He is the Indra. He commands a lot of people, have provided employment to a lot of people. He will guide a lot of people. Yeah,
Then that's
and
Indra. That's
yeah,
Indra.
in an
Sorry, go
okay,
ahead. Yeah.
in an authoritative manner, he'll guide. He will not take bullshit. Not at all. He'll
Hmm.
just tell you the things. And yes, he is very. I mean, he demands a lot from his kids, from my sister also, from me also, and he's never happy. As I told you,
That
even when I
that is all Rohini. Okay. That is
okay,
all. It has
but I
not nothing
thought
to do with Revati.
you
Revati is
mentioned that
much softer in approach. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
he is soft, but in height. I will say that he is soft, but he won't show it to the world. He is soft, but if you go very near him, then only you will find his soft nature, and a lot protective. He won't allow any out of the box things in case of kids. He is very
Okay.
protective. He won't even allow my sister to go out anywhere in for job purpose also. He won't allow the jobs which take a lot of nighttime duties.
This is all Rohini. Okay. This is all Rohini. Next week
Okay.
we will listen to it. All these are coming from the Rohini traits.
And this is a 1969 birth, so that was a generation back. So now I would like to share a Gen Z chart also. This is a chart of a woman who has Gemini rising, and
Okay.
her Mercury is in 12th house, and the dispositor Venus is in Rohini, and Moon is also in Rohini. Oh, sorry, her Revati. Venus and
Right.
Moon both are in Revati. Okay.
Right.
So,
Hmm.
so the first Lord Dispositor goes into Revati, and as you said, she is a very pampered kid, and she got her first job only when she moved out of her home,
Right.
and she has been into three relationships, and all of them were intimate. They went to
Okay.
the bed. That's what
Right.
I will say.
Okay.
So that's also true. So if the person is lethargic, they won't get any success. And she is very spendthrift. She'll purchase very highly luxurious items on the expense of her boyfriend, which I
Hmm.
also happen to know. So
Okay.
yes, she is very spendthrift, and even on her own money, she is very spendthrift
Okay. Can you
and
just repeat what
lazy.
you said? Just repeat what you said. Gemini is the Lagna, and you have Mercury in the 12th house. In which
Yes, and
nakshatra is
that
which nakshatra is that?
Mercury is in Mrigashirsha.
Okay. And which nakshatra is this one, Lagna? Punarvasu?
Yes, Punarvasu. Lagna is Punarvasu
Okay.
with Rahu in it,
Ah, okay.
and Rahu is in Ardra.
Okay. Okay.
So
Now that
that's the
makes sense because only if you have that Punarvasu thing in place, that is when it is possible. Whatever you have explained in connection to
she has
Revati.
a yeah in connection to Revati.
Okay. Yeah, she
and
has.
and relationship issues I explained. Yeah, one thing you mentioned, down prominent chin
Right.
protruding out downwards. Yes, she has
Oh.
that
Mhm.
protruding chin.
Okay.
So that's what I had to share. I'm forgetting a lot of things I thought I will share, but I've forgotten
You must have
now.
got many traits from here, right? Did you actually find anything that did not happen? Whatever I said? No,
A
right?
lot of things, like in my father's case, lethargy thing was totally absent. The soft thing in both the cases is absent. Even in this case, she is not soft at all.
Hmm.
She is
No,
very
no,
angry
no,
person.
no. That's why I said, right? For the soft thing to happen, you need softness everywhere. But when you have Rahu in Lagna, which is in Ardra, you cannot expect softness there. When you have
Yes,
Rohini in the
yes,
Lagna, you cannot expect softness there. See, the
yes,
cusp of the Lagna is even more dominant than the dispositor of Lagna because cusp of Lagna changes every minute, right?
yes.
It travels even faster. The cusp is the most important one. From the cusp, you get lot of traits. You cannot ignore them.
Mm.
More importantly, if you have Indra in the cusp or in the Rudra in the cusp, then it is very difficult actually for them to stay calm or not showing rigidity. These people are very rigid. They are possessive. They want their things.
And one more trait I have found to be matching, like the guy she is in relationship with and is going to get married to, is a lot. There is a generation gap in that, which you
Okay.
were mentioning. The marriage might happen 6 months from now, which may happen or may not. I don't know. But yes, it is also on the cards.
Okay. Mhm. Okay. Anybody else have any comments? No more comments? Okay. Any other questions from any other lecture that you have? Anybody has? Or any general question anybody wants to ask? We still have about 15-20 minutes.
Yes, I want to ask a general question.
Go ahead and ask.
General question is, which is more important? Although I don't know whether I'm asking the right thing. Like nakshatra have light of their own, and planets don't have light of their own. So, what is more important, nakshatra or the planet?
Okay, if you go to the first lecture of mine, there will be the yogas are the first one, right? So, which planet is in which house is more important first. Then comes the nakshatra. But Parashara said, read the nakshatras first and then understand the planets. That is why I gave out nakshatras first, and then we will learn about planets. However, after having understood what planets are, we will first see in which house sun is, irrespective of the lagna, wherever the lagna is. If you have sun in the first house, second house, third house, and so on, all through that 12 houses, there are a few significations that you have to remember, and there is no shortcut for it. You have to remember those. I'll try to keep them as logical as possible so that you can recall them easily. Most of the videos that I see, although they show that essence, but they don't tell from where they are actually trying to decode these things or how to remember them in an order. So I'll try to put those up. So first thing we look at is the yoga. That means which planet is in which house. That is a yoga. Okay, and then which planet is actually connected to uh, which other planet. Okay, because yoga means union. So a sun being in fifth house in particular rashi, that is the yoga. Sun in connection in combination with Mercury placed in some sign in some house. That is the yoga. But for the yoga to actually be delivered, you need that nakshatra also to help it. If both the yoga and the nakshatra are on the same line, then you definitely get that result. If yoga and the nakshatra is actually opposing to each other, then some of that yoga will come down. Okay, that is how you have to look at it. Yes, Shruti.
Sun. Okay.
Yeah, can I ask the question?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a general question. So many times we discuss this concept of if that nakshatra is afflicted, or if this house is afflicted, right?
Yeah.
Then the result will be so and so. How do we find out that affliction? Do we say that if a malefic planet or a functional malefic or a malefic to that native is in that
Got it.
nakshatra, it's a malefic, or how do we define that? How do we know what is the malefic?
First thing is identifying malefics. When we start the planets, I'll explain it to you in more detail. Always take mm, the natural benefic or the natural malefic. First thing, that is the most important thing. Jupiter remains benefic, although he owns the 8th house or the 6th house or the 12th house. He will remain benefic for sure. This is the first thing Parashara has said. So the natural malefic is very important. Okay, if a natural malefic turns retrograde, he is more malefic. Okay? If a natural malefic turns retrograde, he is more malefic. These are very generic rules. You can also look at the 6, 8, 12 lords and use the theme of the nakshatra. Okay, so if in the Revati, if in the Rohini, if we talk about tomorrow, we'll talk about that in the next class. In the Rohini, anything in retrograde, Rohini does not like it. So it dislikes Rahu, it dislikes Ketu, any planet in retrograde motion, it doesn't like it. So there can be a bad results due to it. However, if that happens to be a 12th house or something, and if it's retrograde there, maybe it can work better. Okay, it's too difficult to actually generalize if it's afflicted or not. What may seem outwardly afflicted may actually bring in something very good. Okay, I cannot answer that question in a line because it changes from each thing. You have a follow-up question? Go ahead and ask.
Yeah, like for maybe with an example, I can make it clear. Like for me, I have Venus and Sun, which are for my ascendant, they are not really that bad. I mean, I guess Venus is Badak Lord, but I have experienced Venus and Sun in 10th house, but I've experienced a lot of the negative qualities only of that nakshatra, which is Bharani. even though they are not the bad planets, and even though they are not so bad for me?
The reason is Venus is not good even in Aries, okay? And Venus is not good in Bharani. So as we learn Aries, what does Aries do? What does Venus do? Where he is comfortable. You will understand that Venus is both bad in the Aries and also in the Bharani, and also it is bad in the 10th house. All three, right? Venus loses the direction in the 10th house. However, all that said, you have a very good relationship with your bosses. Your bosses are protecting you. Is that happening?
Sometimes yes, but mostly no.
So that's it. So see, no planet is going to give you all good. No planet is going to give you all bad. Each position has a typical result. You have to read those results. But never think that Venus is bad in my chart or Sun is bad in my chart. All planets are equally good. All planets are equally bad. Okay? Do you get me?
Yeah, I understood about the planet can be equally good and bad. What I still am not able to pinpoint is like how do we judge
I
as
understood your question. I understood your question.
whether
Uh,
it's afflicted or not? That's what.
So it does not mean affliction can bring in why we use these terms, right? So that people use these things carefully. Otherwise, I actually dislike saying affliction because the Saturn's placement, if you're calling it as an affliction, sometimes Saturn placement is very required to keep you grounded there. Otherwise, why would God create a planet called Saturn and say you keep running? Because he's the holder of our karma, right? He's very important guy to be around.
Right.
So yeah, so if because God is a very kind man, why would he create a planet Saturn and we saying something wrong? You keep a track of what he does and give based on what he's doing because it's the karma planet. So I do not want to use these words of affliction, etc., but I'm forced to use because people at least would be careful there and try to apply their brain and logic. Because if you take a chart, okay, you take the day's chart, any day's chart. In the morning, at 6 o'clock, you have a different lagna. In the afternoon, 12 o'clock, you have it. I mean, lagna anyway keeps changing every minute. It keeps running, right? It's not going to wait. So all through the day, many people are born. And on the same day, a beggar can be born, a prince can be born, right? So if I say Saturn is actually afflicting Rohini, so does it mean that that would it mean that the beggar is born or a prince is born? We have to use the Lagna for sure. Okay, then the natural benefit thing is actually gone. But okay, when such things happen, right? You have Saturn and Rohini, etc. It is too difficult for the person to actually sustain riches, especially if it is retrograde. So he'll go down and then come up again, and things like that. So why consider it bad? Maybe it is a lesson for him. So you can't say if it is bad or good.
Right.
Go ahead, complete your question. I mean,
I'm done.
I would strongly say do not think a planet is one single planet cannot give you a bad thing. Any planet in a position will give you both good and bad based on what you have done in the past life and in this life. Only those actions actually they are coming back to you. That's all. So if the karma is regulated, if you're doing a proper karma, even if you have all bad placements, you will you are destined to get good because that is how the chain works. Ustad,
Yes, I have a follow-up question. Like, uh, nakshatra have light of their own, and sun has light its own light, and else none of the planets have their own light. Are they bound to sun and the nakshatra what they are illuminating in our lives? Like, will these both have a major say? It's an astronomical kind of question, and I'm asking what is its importance in astrology, like they having their own light and else none of them
yes,
having.
I understood. See, what you're missing out here is when you're born, right, you're recording an ascendant. What is an ascendant?
Ascendant is anything which is rising on the east, which is
Right.
having. I mean, what is
Right.
rising in your life?
What is rising in the east at the time of your birth, right? Whatever is rising in the east at the time of your birth is your ascendant.
Yes.
So that is the illuminating factor. Okay, that is from where the whole light is. That is the first thing. And the real light that appears in front of us is the sun. Both are illuminators in one or the other way. That is why from Lagna, the 10th house is where we do the karma. Okay. And
Okay.
the sun gets the directional strength in the 10th house. That is where you have to do your work. That is where you have to keep most of your light on. You have to throw light on to your 10th house. Wherever you are, light is always thrown over the 10th house. So Lagna also throws light over the 10th house. The person is focused on doing karmas related to the 10th house. Okay.
Okay.
As you understand planets, right, it will be more and more clear. You're not asking any of those questions from whatever is taught, but you're trying to ask the next level of questions. That is why there is some confusion. Once you
Okay.
understand planets right, once the planets are clearly understood, you will not have this question. What is
Like
important? On the east side,
I
you have the rising thing, and the 10th house is your focus of doing your karma. Go ahead, ask your question. You wanted to ask something.
I actually got this question in the first class itself, and it was very illuminating for me because I never saw it from this perspective. I read your table, and because I found you late in Purva Bhadra or something, not in Purva Ashada, I found you on YouTube. Earlier, I was not aware. So when I saw that first lecture and I got to know that nakshatra have their own light and sun has their own light, then this point struck in my mind. And why
Correct.
the other planets don't have? So what are they conveying to us? They are conveying to us what is being carried over by the nakshatra. The real information lies.
I
That's
answered
what
the
my hypothesis was.
no, I answered the question in the lecture itself. What is the name of a planet in Sanskrit? It's called Graha, right?
Yes.
Graha comes from the root word grahana. That means seeking, right?
Yes.
The planets are seeking light from these stars. So they are bound to give the results of the star.
Yeah. That's what
Okay. And
answers it.
yeah, and also these stars are bound again to the sun because as the sun is moving, we are also moving.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, the Earth is moving, but the geocentrical thing, we think that the sun is moving around us. And astrology has not denied it. So it would say you take it either from the heliocentric thing or the geocentric thing. What is visible to eyes is more relatable for people. So they thought, let us keep it as geocentric. There's nothing wrong in reckoning planets from the Earth because that is how they are visible for human understanding. So let's think that there is Earth and around it there is sun. Let the sun rise and let the sun set. There's nothing wrong in thinking in that way. And all the planets are moving because of the sun. If there is no sun, there are no planets. So we will talk about retrogression, why moon is not retrograding, why sun is not retrograding, and why the other planets are retrograding. If we understand all that, then we will know most of the significations of the planets, and we understand how to apply all of these in tandem and maybe come to a bigger result. I definitely said that grahas cannot give any any result on their own. They can only deliver the result based on the nakshatras they are in and based on the rasis they are in. We have not covered rasis here. A lot of people have delivered lectures on rasis, especially this man, Lunar Astro. Deepanshu Giri has made a big course on it. I have taken that course. It's a good one. Takes a lot of time for people to understand what rashis are. It's a very good course. So somebody wants to take it, please go ahead and take it. I will not explain that in detail here, but anyway, we have understood even the deeper sense of inside of what the nakshatras are placed in. However, it may also so look like sometimes the Rasi says something and the nakshatra says something. Anything can take precedence over the other depending on the situation. Okay, but first thing is we have to look at the Rashi and then look at the nakshatra. As we learn Rashis, as we learn planets, I'll tell you how to look at them in simple understanding. Go ahead, Ustad.
So, is the whatever Rashis are saying, I think that's coming from Sun, and whatever
Correct.
the nakshatras are saying, that's the
Correct.
constellations speaking.
Correct.
Is
They are
that
ruled by
correct?
the moon. Yes, correct. Because all the Rashis are ruled by sun, all the nakshatras are ruled by moon.
And further, Rashis, I think, have the higher say because Sun is the nearest star. That's why.
Not necessarily. Not
Yeah,
necessarily.
that's my hypothesis. I'm asking.
Not necessarily because moon, right? Moon is the mind. Mind is the most powerful. That's why we start our Vimshotri with the moon. Okay. Based on your moon star as your Vimshotri, and Parashara has clearly said moon is the most powerful one. That's why you start your dasha not with your sun, but with your moon, right?
Yes.
However, it's not necessary that where moon is important, there we look at the moon. Where sun is important, there we look at the sun. Where lagna is important, we look at the lagna. And actually, they're all three are important, so we look at everything and then come to a conclusion. If your moon thing is good, it means that you're strong with your mind. If your Rasi thing is good, you have a very good environment. If your Lagna is good, you're very good at your actions. Okay, mind, actions, and environment. Environment is the Rasi, mind is the moon. Because mind thinks I'm in a bad environment. Mind thinks I'm in a good environment, right? And action is from the Lagna because that goes into the 10th house. Based on your Lagna, your 10th house will be decided. Yeah, Shruti.
Just a question. I think previously you mentioned as part of clarifying somebody's doubt, you said something about we are always moving towards the karmas of our 10th house. Is that correct? Did I get it right? Or
Yeah. We are born because to complete the 10th house. Our focus is on the 10th house.
okay. So that would be from Lagna, not from the moon.
Yes, that's the Lagna always.
Okay. And just one other question. It's kind of general only. So when we look at events, to me, from the nakshatra lessons and all, it seems very clear that nakshatras are lifetime kind of things. Like throughout our life, it's being activated, but also when we have transits, some things happen. So what events are triggered by nakshatras, and what events are triggered by uh, transition of planets?
Okay, I don't consider transits at all. Okay, this might surprise a few people. If you're surprised, be surprised. I don't consider transits because I strongly believe that people use transits because they can't understand what the horoscope is saying. I'll tell you a reason for it. So people would say, look, I have taken the natal sun and transit over the natal sun of Saturn or Mars is bad. Transit over Jupiter or such planets is good. See, sun is there. Let's suppose you take Capricorn sun. Everybody who's born in January month would all have Capricorn sun, right? After January 14th, you have Makar Sankranti. So everybody between Jan 14th and February 14th would have all Capricorn sun. So is everybody getting the same result? No, right? So it's only used as an escape route. You have to use your individual horoscope to pinpoint events. If you're very overwhelmed with transits, complete the action in the birth chart, natal chart. If you want to support your events with the transit only as an auxiliary thing, you're welcome to do it. Otherwise, I would discourage. Don't use transits. People may dislike it, but that's how I work.